That's right. You're listening here live on the coolest of the cool, the Koolykool show with your host, Brent, taking it here live. On this, what is it, Tuesday night? Yeah, Tuesday night. Man, my days are getting mixed up. Got an interesting topic for discussion. Maybe this might apply to some of you guys, maybe it might not, but it's a good discussion. Seeing how a lot of things are going in the air and out there. Stir a little controversy. Kicking here live on the coolest of the cool, the Koolykool show. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't done so already, be sure to follow us and like and subscribe on our different social media platforms. Follow me on my social media platform, YouTube channel, Koolykool show. You can also follow me on my TikTok channel, the Koolykool show. You can also follow me on my Twitter account at Koolykool2412. You can also follow me on Instagram at Brent the Champ. So, you're listening here live on Spreaker.com. Yep, you're listening here live on the coolest of the cool, the Koolykool show. We're rocking over coast to coast, north to south, and yes, maybe even in Antarctica. And if you're in Antarctica, is it still cold? This episode is not going to be the full extent, the full time frame. Probably about a good 20 so minutes. Going to talk about little quick topics. Like I said. All right, your host Brent. If you haven't heard of us already, topic of our discussion tonight's podcast, it's going to be jobs hiring or job selling wolf tickets. All right, and if you don't know the term of what wolf tickets means, they're just selling some bullshit, some old, or it's not really selling anything. It's just kind of like saying things, and the next you know, whatever. I thought this was a pretty interesting topic to talk about. If you're in the job market and you're looking for employment and you're looking for people to, you're putting them resumes in, trying to get hired on, trying to, be successful, get the things you want, there might be a catch-22 with a lot of shit going on in the job market field. And this is more informative than informative. Well, no, there's more informative than deformative, whatever. I don't even think that's a word. But let's just put it this way, that there's a lot of things that a lot of people are definitely trying to, have a career path, find things, do things. But are these jobs, these employers, really, really looking for employees, people willing to work? Or are they just saying that to, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, get more funding paid by the government, whatever it is, continue their LLC, and, to get them PPE loans. There's a lot of stuff that you have to kind of take into content. If anybody who's in the job market is going to tell you, people will send out resumes and their stuff patented, and all these websites here says, hey, then like, what is it, resume builder, career builder, or something like that, and people will, be looking for a job, like, hey, I hope I get this, and there's always a loophole. So you have tons of people putting in, that signing up, making an account on Indeed, Career Builder, Monster, things of that nature, and they're hoping that these companies will, once they post for certain positions and openings like that, and when the positions open up, I guess it gets filtered out to these other websites. And as they're filtered out to the other websites, then people who has their resumes on there, they see it, they decide to click on it, they decide to apply to it, and then their resumes and everything get put in the vastness of the internet, or wherever, in the intergalactic waves of the internet, and hopefully sent out to these employers. Now, sometimes they do give you a call back, but at the same time, how many people are being put into this whole pot of craziness? Meaning, that's where it comes to the term jobs hiring or job selling wolf tickets. Now, that's pretty much could be, let's say, hey, I'm looking for somebody to play this particular role, but I'm only looking for one individual. I'm not looking for all. Like, I'm a casting director and I need somebody to be, X, Y, and Z descriptive type, something that I'm looking particular to have. I'm not looking for everybody. I don't need everybody. I'm just looking for somebody who could fit that character. That's what I'm looking for. That's what the director's looking for. And if I find it, bam, all the other 100,000, maybe 100,000s, disregard it, move on. Is that the same way in the job market right now, with people looking for jobs, looking for gainful employment, especially when they're looking for certain employment from certain areas of expertise and backgrounds? It's like, it seems as though they are looking for a certain particular individual, or it's an old boy network. And I think I talked about this touch before in one of my episodes. The old boy network, if you don't know what it means, I'm hooking you up because you're homeboy. That's the old boy network. All right. The old boy network applies to people who are doing favors for another in hopes of receiving a favor later, sometime down the road. That's the old boy network. If you haven't experienced it, trust me, you probably don't even realize it, but wherever you're working, it is what it is. It always happens. But at the same time, this is not promoting good as equal opportunity, as though many companies have established an equal opportunity rule where people will get the chance to compete for certain positions as well as everyone else. And wrong, doesn't exist. It's one of those, let's make a false narrative to say that, but in reality, we'll never follow that. This goes into my discussion talk that I had talked about previously before, about how easy, well, actually, put it this, how hard and difficult it is to be an astronaut. Now, I don't know why anybody would want to be an astronaut. Says, hey, I want to go into outer space, into the infinity of blackness, and just be in outer space. Whatever. But that goes on this with saying is like this with the astronaut stuff. If you want to become an astronaut, they will disqualify you on mostly anything. I mean, it's stack the deck against you to the point where it's absolutely ridiculous. Meaning, at first I was just like, okay, you have to have a college degree. So, bam, there's a lot of people who have a college degree. They're like, oh, well, you have to have a master's degree. Oh, well, now that's kicking back a couple people who just have just a regular bachelor's. They're like, oh, but you have to have a doctorate degree. So that kicks back quite a bunch of other people that now the pot begins to get a little smaller. It's not big, but the pot begins to get a little shrinks. Now they're like, well, I have a doctorate degree. Well, your doctorate degree has to be in aeronautical engineering. Now, those who have doctorate degree in anything else, you've been kicked out of that pot. Now the pot is really small. Now, certain individuals who have a degree in aeronauticals engineering, now it says, oh, you have to have you have a doctorate degree in aeronautical engineering with a minor of astrophysics or some shit. Now the pot shrinks extra down small. Now then what it goes on a little bit more is, oh, you need a doctorate degree in aeronautical engineering with this, minor in astronautical physics, and you have to have a GPA while in school of a 3.5 or higher. Now that can kick people says, well, I had a 3.5 or a 3.4. Now you're out of the mix. Now then they goes to like, well, we got to see who we can break it down. They do everything possible in order to not do. Now, is this the way of the job market? Oh, absolutely. It's the same way as all these other websites that I had just named previously. How what they do is that they tend to do is that they actually have a whole list of these things and they narrow it down. They're only picking certain ones. They make the stack the deck against you. And then with some of them, these employments and players, what they do is obviously what's right around the corner. What's this week? It's Thanksgiving. Oh, by the way, if I haven't told you, I'll see you. Good evening, good afternoon, good night. Happy Thanksgiving this coming week. But what's going on during this time frame now? It's the holiday season. You got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas, you got New Year's. So a lot of these places are going to be looking for seasonal seasonal employees to come work for whatever company, whatever business they're at. And then after the seasonal is done, then they kick them to the curb. Says, thanks, you've been great help for about 4 weeks, 6 weeks. Now you can get to stepping. That's what a lot of these places do. This is what it does. So people looking for gainful employment are at a disadvantage because at the point in time they're getting hired on, but only for a seasonal opportunity, a seasonal time. And because a lot of these companies are backing and says, hey, we're going to have a lot of stuff going on and we're going to be making a big profit. But in order for us to complete our objectives, we need to hire more employees in order to ensure the fulfillment of those orders and those things to be continued out. Makes sense in a business way, but at the same time, for the regular person looking for employment to do something, make money, to do things they want to do, doesn't really help. And that's why where it comes to this is, are these employers, these jobs selling wolf tickets? I'm sorry to say, many of these are selling wolf tickets. And then on the top of that, if it wraps my head around where I know that there's a lot of people out there who are well qualified for certain positions and certain job expertise, but are never afforded the opportunity to actually get a chance to excel in any of those. Why? Because, well, the deck's always stacked against them. It's not fair, folks. I know many of you, those who are listening, have you ever had a time where you were like, I want to do this, but you never got the chance to do it because you didn't get afforded the opportunity as the next person did, or the next person got all the opportunities? And when I mean that, just look at the situation like this. Like, let's see. Okay, well, I like to do a lot of examples, so that way, if you're confused by anything I say, and if I give you an example that is very easy for you to understand and can relate, then it makes this one. Like, for instance, I would say back in the professional wrestling era, and it still applies to this day, is that in the early stages of like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, professional wrestling was off the chain, but it seemed like This way, the professional wrestling, yeah, to be the man or be on the big time, to be in one of those major companies like WWE and WCW back then, people that really broke into the professional wrestling era and got noticed were people whose families were already connected inside the business. So obviously, if you were already family grew up in the business and you're already connected with the promoters and things of that nature, it'd be much easier if the son or the heir decides to go into that profession and want to become a professional wrestler. As for an outsider to go into that business to hopefully be at the top or be famous or whatever, that's a lot more difficult than the ones who are already connected because the family is already in the business. See what I'm saying? So basically, like I said, you're an outsider. It's damn near almost impossible unless you just have a liking or a huge fan base, or you get that opportunity that comes across where you decide to take it, or they give you the chance to run with it. Or one, you're already connected into the family, into the business. And this is also applies to actors. Look at so many actors and actresses in Hollywood. A lot of them, their family members are already have been in the movie business, the industry and everything of that. And they're just kind of following in the footsteps of what their family had laid down. And this is where a lot of people get pissed off because it seems to be a revolving door where those who are areas where they want to venture off and get the opportunities that those who have the opportunities, they feel as though they never get the chance to get an opportunity. And that's what a lot of people want is an opportunity to show what they can do, to prove themselves. Because as well we know it, a lot of people are afforded certain opportunities, certain things, and it's like, well, this person over here has been working their butt off and they don't get the chance to tell or show anybody what they can do. While over here, Joe Blow and company doesn't have to do a damn thing, but they're going to get afforded opportunities because Old Boy Network, or because their family grown up in the business. It's not fair. Now, they're not saying this applies to all types of, but typically on certain types of professions, certain types of things, this plays out in how society is, because in my mindset, a lot of society wants people to be in a certain social status. Like, for instance, if you're brought up and born into the rich class era or rich class section, you are not going to step down to go into having to settle for middle class status or be with somebody in middle class. You're not doing that. Or being with somebody in lower class. You're not doing that. Upper class is going to stick with upper class. Middle class is going to want to stick with middle class and hopefully get to the upper class. Lower class is going to look for either anywhere in between, anything, meaning lower to lower class, lower to middle, but dreaming of getting the chance to be with an upper class. That's how it's broken down. So if you're in upper class, you're not ever going to have to go down to the lower class because it's not going to be your forte. Let's think about it as far as money-wise. If you're in the upper class and your family is already wealthy, rich, or whatever, your family is already going to establish certain benefits to you as certain, I'm not going to say, I don't want to say this. Well, hidden secrets, hidden agendas that are going to keep you at the top echelon upper class status. Meaning they're going to pave the way for you to maintain that hierarchy, that social status, that class status, with not ever having to go down to middle class or lower class. Now, if you are in the middle class section, you are taught certain things to where you're probably going to be in middle class. You have a chance to shoot up to the upper class, but you're going to have to do some fighting, some digging, some thought process, and some way to scheme your way to getting up there. It's a hard process. Can it happen? Yeah, it can happen. But it's going to have to come with an opportunity that comes your way that you're going to seize at that time. Is it often? Not often, but it's manageable from that middle class status to get to the upper class. If you're in a lower class status is much more difficult, hard-fought road. Majority of lower class status is able to get out of the lower class status to get to the middle class status. But from the get to the middle class status is exactly what I said before with the middle class status. You're still going to do some digging, searching to get to the upper class. But by that time, if you're from the lower class to the middle class, you've already worked so hard to get out of the lower class to the middle class, damn near a lifetime of doing that. Middle class is probably where you're going to be. Though your aspirations and dreams are always going to be at the high upper class. But a lifetime spent from lower class to middle class, achieving that to stay in the middle class is pretty much going to be where you're fixed at. And a lot of it has to deal with opportunity based. And this is not anything to be cruel or mean about. It's one that pisses me off, quite frankly, because of how certain things are done. I mean, let's think. We just had elections. Yeah, I'm going after you politicians now. We just had elections that went so by, and everybody's like, "Oh, vote for me on this net." Yeah, you're taking consideration on who can do what, who has the capability to do what. But in reality, in hindsight, some of these people, I don't even fucking have a clue who the hell they are. Or more or less, how are they helping? For instance, what are they going to do for where I live at? Or what are they going to do for the community? What are they, really? But they're asking for my vote to help them get in office, to help them get a higher wage in their, salary. And so the money they make can go into their bank account so they can live high upper class status and look down at everyone else and say, I'm going to be here to help fix your problems. I'm supporting you, but I need your vote to get me in office so that way I can make all the money and I can make plenty of money to now try to help the poor little guy out. You not see what I'm talking about? Do you not see what I'm talking about? And this applies to job status. And it applies to jobs. So jobs, are they really hiring? Or are they selling wolf tickets? And if they're getting wolf tickets, what section are those tickets? Like I said, I like to lead on by a lot of examples. And if you look at stadiums, it's always what? The closer to the field, the more expensive the tickets are. The further away the seating is, the less expensive it becomes. You're sectioning people off by what they can afford. Same way in reality. Same way in life. You're just sectioning off for those who can afford and who can't afford. It's very sad to think that it is that way, but in reality it is. You know, it's like that saying, like Hulk Hogan had said years ago, back in the early 90s on Sunday. He's like, you know, eat your vegetables, eat your vitamins, say your prayers, and then he says, "I did it for the money." You know, you know, that's the honest truth. You know, make sure you eat your vegetables, make sure you take your vitamins, say your prayers, and I did it for the money. Yeah. It painstakingly aches me and to the core that a lot of stuff is hidden that a lot of people don't realize. And unfortunately, like I said, when I broke down from lower class to upper middle class, and the middle class who can try to do stuff like that, it is, you know, It's one of those things. Is an opportunity to gonna get that. And people say, "Well, I don't. You don't need an opportunity to get that. You just got to work hard. You got to believe in yourself. And you got to keep doing what you need to do." No, the thing is, you could have a person. Like I said, I'm going back to this, and this is applies to jobs. You have a person in upper class status, and their family, i.e., going back to acting part. Remember the acting example? Person upper class business. He's going to know about how to do certain business things. He's going to have money to put up front. He's going to have money to put down, things like that. LLC, get him to start going. So that way he's got money to split the bill to get things up and going so he can make more money. Now, let's look at a lower class status. He doesn't have anybody typically who knows how to run a business or has ever run a business, but they're pretty much going to be trying to do it on their own without no guidance, no information based, and not understanding what it takes to make a successful business. And they are actually just on taking it as is. And the opportunity, as I said, is anyone going to give them an opportunity, or are they going to turn them away because of the fact that, hey, I don't know this guy, but I know high class guy over here. As I said, it's a sick, twisted world we live in, you know. And I said before plenty of times on this show, I said, yep, it's the man behind the curtain who's pulling all the strings. Pay no attention to him. Oh, pay no attention to him. There's no strings being pulled here. Trust me, there's not. Sure. You guys can believe that if you want. Go right ahead. Oh, another thing. Oh, you can believe everything that's on television, too. You can believe that. Television and TV have never been told to never lie about things. Bullshit. But, like I said, one of the main things for this topic of discussion was in the fact of talking about jobs. Are jobs really looking for people, or are they just selling wolf tickets? Are they just selling it to put out an image that, hey, yeah, we need people. You can make this much. Because trust me, the seasonal time, a lot of these companies, jobs, whatever, it's like, yeah, you come work for us. You can make this amount of money. And even though they know it's a seasonal, and they tell people, hey, after this, you be okay. But what's the difference for them actually giving these people jobs to say, hey, I'll give you a job. They're going to see. But then one of those always comes to, you know, we can't afford to pay that amount of people anymore. You know, it is what it is. But you had the money during the seasonal time because you were getting a lot more money. Your business and yourself were. So that way you could actually pocket that money and then come back and split the bill for paying the rest of these workers, these extra workers you have. Because you figured you were going to be getting the money in return. What that sounds like to me, it sounds like you took a loan. Well, actually, it sounds like to me is you went to the bank. You said, hey, I got this great thing. I'm just waiting to get this money in. You can see that I got this money coming. It's going to be coming. It's going to be a lot more money for me and I can pay it. But I just need you to give me a loan. So that way I could take care. You're going to get your money. See, it's already in progress that you're going to get your money. You know you're going to get your money. But I need the loan real quick. That's what it sounds like. I think I went over a little bit. I was going to do like 20 minutes. But I kind of got carried away. But anyway, yeah. It's a lot of shit is done. It's like I said, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Trust me, he's not pulling any strings. He could never be pulling any strings. But all I say is, everybody, if you're having a downtime and you're trying to figure your place out in the world and you feel as though sometimes you may not get an opportunity or base, all the basis I can say, and I hope and pray that each and every one of you that are trying to get yourself, trying to advance your career, trying to advance whatever you're trying to do, trying to follow your dreams, I'd say continue to do so. Don't ever give up. continue to follow and improve and to do what is right. All right? You know, do not get discouraged. Do not get discouraged. Maintain a positive outlook. Maintain a positive thought process. One day, you will be where you want to be. All right? So, yeah. I would say, well, we've come to the end of the show. Like I said, I wasn't going to go that long, but I kind of went over a little bit. So you're already here live on the Coolest of the Cool, the Koolykool show with your host, Brent, kicking here live on this Tuesday night. If you haven't done so already, be sure to follow us on other social media platforms. Be sure to follow me on my Instagram page at Brent_the_champ. I believe that's underscore. Well, Brent the Champ. You also follow me on my TikTok page at Koolykool Show. You can also follow me on my YouTube channel at the Koolykool Show. Follow me on Twitter at Koolykool2412. So, each and every one of you, we have a blessed and a wonderful evening, and take thought process to what I mentioned today on this episode. Jobs hiring or job selling wolf tickets. You know, I mean, we all want to have the thought process that we could all be movie stars, millionaires, and that, but the game's rigged. But you got to sift through it to find out the cheat codes. Yeah, you gotta find the cheat code somehow. Alright. So, that's gonna wrap it up here live on the Coolest of the Cool, the Koolykool show. So, everyone take care. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye. You're here live on the Coolest of the Cool, the Koolykool show. Bye.